Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bola Harrison. Kindly stay, keep watching, enjoy, and lastly guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment in the comment section and I'll reply as soon as I can. And finally, share this video and turn on your notification bell so that whenever I put up a new video, you will be the first to know. Today's video, I'm talking about the mistakes I made as an international student studying in K11 in Belgium, how or what I think I could have done better, and how you can overcome those mistakes as a student. Last year, I was enrolled for an advanced master's program, which at the time, I didn't know it was going to be so advanced. So I'm not going to lie, I knew it was an advanced master's program, but I was prepared to an extent, or to the extent that I could prepare before joining the program. And one thing that I wish I could have done differently was to resume early, even though this is not really one of the mistakes I made, because it was not a mistake on my part, was not resuming on time. If there's anything I think I could have changed, it was resuming early. I resumed about 6 weeks into the semester, and as at then, classes had gone so far that I was lost. It took me so much time to catch up, and you'll be hearing things like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in the last class, last week we talked about this, and you can't really catch up, and you are just thrown into a world of confusion, coupled with the fact that you are new in a different country, a different culture, and you are just trying to make sense of your life and find your bearing. So that can throw you off. I know those of us coming from Africa and from some other countries where we have issues with traveling restrictions and all of those problems with traveling, it might be difficult. One thing I realized studying abroad is that there is never enough time. The way time flies here, it's like poof, magic. You are up by 7 a.m. and before you know it, it's 5 p.m. and before you know it, it's 12 a.m. and the day is gone. So there is never enough time. So don't leave whatever you are doing to the last minute, because there is really never enough time. You're working 1 minute, the next minute you are going to class, and the next minute you have assignments. You have so much things to do. So I think one mistake I made was trying to do so much at the same time and procrastinating. So don't leave anything you're doing till the last minute, because there's never enough time, and the way time flies here, genuinely I don't know how time flies here. If you can avoid procrastination, avoid it by all means necessary. So another core mistake that I think I made was overestimating my skills. So I had these skills back in Nigeria that if I wanted to study, if I decided to cram, I could cram. If I decided to study and know, I could know. If I decided to just read and understand, or just read for reading's sake to pass my exam, I could achieve all of this, even if the exam was 2 days to or 1 day. When I got here, I overestimated that skills, not realizing that the system was overly different. I thought that I would still cope. But usually when I was studying back in Nigeria, I was not working and studying. I was strictly studying. So I think I had enough time to study if I wanted to study. But here, because I said there is never enough time, because you are working and studying and paying your bills, there is never enough time, and you already have some things you have procrastinated because you were busy. This overestimating of my skills led me not to take advantage of my free time. So the little free time that I had, instead of me to study, I just feel like, okay, you know what, let me go and hustle for small money and I can read anytime I come back. And when I did that, I realized that it affected my grades, because I was having academic jet lag, because I spent that free time hustling. So it brings me to my next point. I worked more than I studied. I know as international students, we have bills to pay, our rent is there, and especially if you don't have support, you want to work more. But let me just tell you, try to cut back on the hours, because for me, I graduated quite all right. But for 1 month after graduation, I was really sad, because I knew that the grade I graduated with, I could have done way better, because I knew in between those busy schedule, I had some free time that I did not utilize properly, and I was working more than I ought to work. And sometimes it was because I needed to meet up with my bills and meet up with certain things that I needed to pay for. As international student, I'm going to advise that no matter how much you have so much bills, don't eat into your study time. Try to make a timetable and a reading schedule and stick to it. It's difficult. Working more than my study, working in this regard is not like the paid job alone. It was the paid jobs, my YouTube channel, my research work, and my life. I was working more than I studied. I allowed other things to take the place of my study. So the free time I had set up in my timetable for studying, somebody could just call me on the phone and say, Bola, I need to talk to you for 1 hour or for 30 minutes, or call me with something, and I will just leave my studying and I'll attend to it. That's work. So I was working more than I was studying, and I paid dearly for it, because when I saw my result first semester, I knew that this result in Nigeria, it could be a good result, but here it was not, because the study pattern and the grades were different. Maintaining the level of discipline I would have maintained, and because of the main reasons for jackpotting, one of the main reasons for traveling, aside from the fact that I really wanted to study this program, was also because I wanted to make a good life for myself. So that mistake I made studying in K11 that I ought not to have made, and I think that it was avoidable, that mistake was actually copying the student pattern here. So here you will see students with their laptop in class. Some of them don't write with their books and pen, and when I go here, I would just say that the old teaching system, it was different from what I knew back home, because I'll take my laptops to class, I would watch the video because the class is being recorded online. So it made me a bit lazy about taking my notes in class, and that was the pattern I'm used to. Like if I want to read, I'm not the type of person that reads on my phone. I like to print the text out, take my pencil or my biros, like I have like blue pen, red pen, I'm writing and I'm striking things out. That's how I read, and that's how I like to read. But I copied their pattern because the articles were placed online on our dashboard, and I'll be reading on my laptop, and before you know it, I'll get tired. Because I should have stuck to my old pattern of writing in class, printing my articles and reading them in print instead of reading them electronically, which affected me greatly because it didn't make me utilize my reading pattern or my reading skills that I had back from home. So copying their pattern here, trying to do things electronically rather than the manual way I was used to, it did not work for me. I realized that I could not cover more materials because I was slow. I was slow in reading the materials electronically. I could not cover more. Another mistake I made was not adequately understanding the grading system. So in Belgium, they have a grading system of from 0 to 20, 0 being fail obviously, and 10 is the pass mark, 11. But I didn't understand the weight of it. Sometimes I'll just tell myself, oh, if I had like a 13 or 14, it was good. But actually it was not good because of the kind of grade I wanted. So I would say, okay, 13 is fine. Some courses I'll be so angry, I'll be like, I just want to pass this course, and that affected me. So I would say the word of my mouth also affected me because I didn't understand the grading system. I did ask questions when I got here. The first questions I asked was trying to understand the CGPA system, and because it was not like what we're using in Nigeria, like 70 is A in Nigeria and then 60 is a B. So I wanted to understand like that, but they were using 10, 11, 12, and honestly it threw me off, and it made me in a way not to aim high, because if I had known that 16 is like the A, something like that, I would aim higher, and when I'm writing or reading for my exams, I could set the bar so high. But lack of understanding the grading system, at the point I just gave up and I never asked again. But if I had pushed further, I guess I could have found that, oh, okay, magnum cum laude is this grade, cum laude is this grade, summa cum laude is this grade. But I didn't do that on time. I did that after the first semester, and as at then I was already like on a B average or B minus or something. I don't know how to explain that. Another mistake I made was battling imposter syndrome. I will call it a mistake because I did not feel confident when I got to class. I felt like an imposter. Sometimes I'll feel like, what am I doing here? Is this course right for me? Am I doing the right course? Am I here because I deserve to be here? I was beating myself up, and also because I didn't want to disappoint my mentors. I didn't want to disappoint my parents, my family, and myself. But I ought to have taken time to allow myself to get over that feeling I was feeling, that I was not competent enough, I was not adequate enough. I felt like it's like maybe I took the course because I wanted to jackpot and not because I wanted to study the course. Obviously I wanted to study the course, but imposter syndrome got the best of me for the first semester, especially because I had missed a lot and I felt like I was not good enough. So it was a mistake I could avoid if I had just taken time to talk to someone about it and let it out. So but I got over it, but it took me time, and at that point things were already, exams already started, and I already saw that my results were already affected by the time I got over it. So if you are coming as an international student and you are feeling lost in class, there are psychologists you can talk to. Like my school has a medical center, and they have like therapists or psychologists you can reach out to talk to get over any kind of feeling, or just talk to someone about it. And that was one mistake I made, and I think it can be avoided, because traveling here is not easy, especially when you come to a class and you're meeting students. If you're coming from a system like Nigeria, I used to be like the top of the top student. So coming here and seeing people that are like advanced in terms of talking in class and I was still lost. I just felt so little. I was feeling like an imposter in this class. So I didn't come to the realization on time. And if I had done that on time, it would have helped me to get over it and know that I was adequate and I was self-sufficient because I had the skills to finish the program. Anyways, I eventually got over it, but I think it's something that you can work on because by the time you come as a foreign student, you are going to meet people in the class that you think are better than you, but never just let yourself get to that point where you sink into yourself and feel little and remain little. So that's another mistake that I made studying here. Now, another point is admitting when you don't know something. Because I'm the type that I always want to study on my own. I don't want distractions. I don't go to libraries. I like to read in my room. Here it's easy to get very comfortable when the weather is so cold. You don't want to go out, you don't feel like doing anything. The weather even changes your mood. So rather than studying, sometimes you could sleep. And I'm not the type that goes to library, but I should have capitalized on the group readings that my classmates were organizing. I should have capitalized on that, but like I said, I was working more than I was studying. So even when they organized the group readings, I would have intention of joining. I will indicate interest. They will add me on the groups, but I will not be able to make it because at the end of the day, I'm working. So if I had just sacrificed the job, go to the group reading, it could have helped me at the places where I was weak to take or learn with them with the courses that they were better at. I could learn, and the courses I was weak in. So admitting that you don't know is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. So again, I would say if your classmates are organizing group readings or group learning sections, indicates the courses where you have your weak points and then ask for help. So that's one thing I think I did not do on time. I did not ask for help on time because at the end of the day, I realized that some of my classmates were willing to help and some of them were better at the medical part of the program than I was. Now, another mistake I made was not realizing that failing here is not so much of a crime. Back in Nigeria, if you fail a course, it affects your CGPA, so it drops. Here, if you fail a course, you have the time to retake it. It affects your credits, but eventually when you pass it, the credit is given back to you. I don't know how to explain that, but failing here is not the end of your life. It's not the end of your CGPA. So here you have like 2 examination period. You have one in June, and if you fail the course, you could retake it in, I think, August or September. Then in some other countries, if you fail, you could retake it within the same period up until 3 times. Does not reduce your grade. You can retake it and even get better scores. So I will even say that it's even better to fail a course and retake it in the next examination period and pass it properly than to force yourself to pass a course and at the end of the day you are getting maybe a passable grade. It's not so good because at the end of the day it will reflect on your transcript and there's nothing you can do about it. But that mistake I would say I made, it's not solely my mistake, is opting for a 1-year program. If you're coming for a master's program, I would advise that a 2 years program is better. This is because in the first year you have enough time to do your courses, and in the second year you have enough time to do your thesis and a few courses or even no course at all. So this way you focus your year 1 on your courses and your year 2 on your thesis, or even split your 2 programs into 3 years so that you focus on doing all your courses in the first 2 years and your thesis for 1 full year where you have enough time. But if you take a 1-year program, you have to do all the courses together while preparing for your thesis also in the second semester that you have courses to prepare for as well. So it's a very tight schedule. It gives you little or no time for other things, which means that if you're a funded student, you would have the time to study for a 1-year program. But if you're a non-funded student that intends to work as a foreigner also in that country, I will advise that you go for a 2-year program where you have enough time to do your courses and if possible spill over your thesis to a 3rd year, so that way your thesis will occupy 1 year and you have 1 year to work on it. No pressure, no fear of failure. Then in the first 2 years of the program, the main 2 years of the program, you can do all the courses you want to do. You can take your time to do it. If you're coming to Europe as a foreign student, I will advise you go for a 2 years program rather than a 1-year master program. The same way you struggle to go and work for money, also struggle to meet up with the class. If you had been in that class, you understand more, you will learn more, you'll be able to ask your questions, and you have first-hand experience or first-hand knowledge about the class because you were there. So all of these are the things I think if it makes sense to you, and you try to find ways to incorporate them into your own life as an international student going abroad, it would help you out. And I hope that you learn from my mistakes and you try to work on it. And lastly, I hope this video has been helpful. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comment in the comment section. Tell me how you balance your work and your life, your academic life, social life, and your work, your part-time job or full-time job as an international student abroad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be reading and I'll reply as soon as I can. See you in my next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.